I spent the last 2 summers in the Skyscape Scout by 6 Moons Designs, and I finally feel like I have enough time on trail with it to give you guys a proper review. It's a trekking pole tent on the budget side that's kind of ultralight, but for the price of $160, it's really hard to beat. But before getting into the specifics of this tent, let's set it up. Now, compared to most freestanding tents, the Scout is pretty easy to set up. It makes it simple that it's all in one piece and you don't have to connect a fly or anything like that. You need 3 stakes minimum to set it up, but if you want wind and rain protection, you need 5, which compared to other trekking pole tents is actually really good. The best way I found to set it up is to ground the first 3 main stakes at first and then go inside the tent to set up the trekking poles. You need to put the tips in these little grommets at the top, and there's a little piece of fabric where the base goes at the bottom, and then you just extend them until they don't go up anymore. Once you have both poles set up, you can secure the stakes on each side with each of the guidelines. And then my favorite feature on this tent is that all the sides roll up to attach to a little piece of plastic, so you can have really good airflow and just have the bug net on days when it's really hot. There's a lot of bugs, but you still want to be able to kind of function. Okay, so now for the actual review. I'm 5'10" and I fit very comfortably in this tent. I can stand up, I can sit up, I can lay down, and there's enough room for a very large sleeping pad. It fits my wide and tall REI Helix, which is 78 by 24 inches, and it still has a couple inches left on the sides and a lot on the top and bottom. It's really nice because I can put my bag inside without any issues. I just put it above my head. And there's also this little light hook at the very top, which is nice, where you can put a headlamp. And so in the middle of the night when you wake up, you can just turn on the headlamp and see all your stuff, and you don't have to kind of rustle through all your things to find your light. The things I don't like about this tent are how easily the bug net is to rip. You have to be really careful. This goes for most kind of lightweight tents, but I've already gotten a few holes in mine, and you have to patch them because you don't want any bugs inside your tent. It's also pretty heavy. It's just a little over 2 pounds, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that heavy, but when we're getting the ultralight kind of side of gear, it's still pretty heavy. But this makes sense when you're looking at the price, because it's $160, which is kind of outrageously cheap. The next closest budget option is the REI Trailmade 1, which is over 3 pounds and a freestanding tent. So it's kind of ridiculous on how cheap this thing is. Now there is a catch. It doesn't just ship to you ready to set up. You have to buy your own stakes, which luckily they sell on their website for pretty cheap. And you also have to seam seal it yourself. Now, if you don't know what seam sealing is, it's basically where you're waterproofing the seams on the stitching of the tent. And usually factories will do this beforehand, before they ship it out to you. But 6 Moon Designs is a small company, so they're kind of putting this process on you. Now, you can pay them a fee to do it, but I personally just did it myself. The sealant is like $7, and you just set up the whole tent and just put this liquid over all the seams and let it dry. And then your tent is pretty much waterproof. And this is just a good habit to do to all your tents, even if it's already been seam sealed from the factory, because after a couple of years, the waterproofing might deteriorate. So it's a nice thing, a nice skill to already have. In my personal opinion, anything under 200 bucks is gonna be kind of a hard game to play when it comes to tents. So this is just a very solid option. If you're willing to use the trekking pole style tent, I think there's no better option. Just get this tent and you're not gonna have any problems with it. It's really simple, and you're gonna have a blast on trail. If you have any questions about this tent, please ask down below. I have a lot of experience with it, and if you wanna ask me anything before or after buying it, I would love to help. I'll also have it linked in the description if you wanna check it out. And without further ado, this was another Goodwill hiking video, and I'll see you guys next time.